Now let's talk about operations. Operations are all about math, so get ready. Like data sources, operators hold numbers that other objects can use. However, most operations get that number by performing a mathematical calculation. First, let's go to Tools, Triggers and Events, Operations. First, we have the distance operator. It's the least complex of the operators. It simply calculates the distance between two objects. In the properties, let's look at type. Here is how the operator will calculate the distance. World uses the full 3D space, and plane uses only horizontal distance. Height is not taken into account because height is the next option. Height will give you the vertical distance only. And finally, driving line uses the length of the driving line. Select source 1 and 2 are where you select the items the operator uses. So, for example, if you want to calculate the distance of the bike on the drive line, set source 1 to the bike and source 2 to the starting checkpoint. Keep in mind, with height, if one of the items you select as your source doesn't move, it's a good idea to set that item to source 1. With height, the operator takes the height of source 2 and subtracts the height of source 1. Conversely, if source 1 was higher than source 2, the resulting number would be a negative number. Now let's skip down to the toInput operator. This operator uses two values to calculate a new value. In properties, the first thing we see is operation. This is how the operator will calculate its value. There are too many operations here to explain them all, so check the video description for a link to more info on various mathematical operations. Next, we have the toValues. Once again, most likely you want to have one of the values connected to a data source. If you set both values manually, the result will always be the same. Now let's go back up to the inInput operator. Similar to the toInput operator, but this one can use more than two values to calculate its own value. This tool has a few less operations than the toInput operator, and again, check the video description for the links to the explanations of these operations. Select Operand gives you a cursor to select any data sources you wish to combine. Next, we have the oneInput operator. This one uses only one value and some math to create a new number. Operation is where you set how you want to manipulate the value. And once again, check the links below for more information. Operand is where you set the value you want to manipulate. You can of course connect this to a data source. Scalar operator is a vector tool, as is vector operator, and we will talk about these in the next tutorial. Next is Selector. This tool will set itself to one of two values based on a third value. In the properties, Selector is where you set the value to be compared. If this value equals 0, the data source would be set to the value in value 2. If it doesn't equal 0, it will be set to the value in value 1. So, for example, if we set value 1 to 10 and value 2 to 20, and we set the selector value to the router speed, if the router is stopped, the data source will equal the value in value 2, or 20. If the router is moving, then the value source will equal the value in value 1, or 10.